Here it is. President Biden condemns his political opponents as threats to the soul of his nation.
Honest to God, never thought I would see something like this from Joe Biden, from really any American president. Last night, the president of the United States gave the most demagogic, dangerous speech I've ever
Dude, that's hilarious. Shapiro reacts to Biden. Wait, this is two different Shapiro clips.
heard from an American president, truly. And a lot of people out there right now on the left side of the aisle screaming about Donald Trump and his January 6th speech. I really hated Donald Trump's January 6th speech. But what Donald Trump did not do in that speech is declare that half the country was the enemy. He did not declare that half the country was fundamentally opposed.
That's really interesting that Ben says this because neither did Biden, which he should. Like, I think he should. Because they are. And also, not only is half the country, not even half the country, but like, you know, all Republicans are kind of an enemy to the prosperity of America. Let's be real. It's true. It's just fucking true. Ben Shapiro, greatest enemy of all time. I mean, look, if you are an accelerationist, okay, if you want America to fucking crumble, then vote Republican because they will ensure that it happens, okay? They will starve out the masses to a degree where, you know, there is no solution other than some kind of accelerated and potentially violent, not revolution, but, you know, like some kind of fascism that will inevitably crumble this empire, okay? So the idea that like Republicans and conservative attitudes, conservative ideas are not inherently dangerous to the future of this nation is a silly one. It is true. It's so silly. It's silly to discuss. Brandon, on the other hand, was too big of a pussy to actually say it as it is. So he just did the classic, he did the classic like, oh, well, not all Republicans, Jack. Some Republicans, a small percentage of Republicans are MAGA Republicans, right? Like he said that, but it doesn't matter because mods, we should ban the Channel 5 keyword because we will inevitably get to it. We will, of course, inevitably watch it. But it's going to be really fucking annoying and impossible to deal with if, you know, I'm live as this is happening. We will get to it. I've been very excited to watch the O-Block Channel 5. We're going to get to it, of course. You know, calm down.
To the basis of the country. He attacked, I thought wrongly, the quote-unquote political elite who had skewed the election or whatever. But what he didn't do was label half the country, people who are just political opponents, his actual enemies. He didn't actually do that on January 6th. And when he talked about the press.
Yeah, no, totally, dude. Yeah, Donald Trump's January 6th speech was better than fucking... Yeah. He's like, I hated it, but it wasn't as bad. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up, dude. Funny how Republicans are so offended at being called semi-fascist. You see his Matthew Hassan compilation of them doing the same. Bro, they're calling him a fascist while they're offended at the semi-fascist designation. Okay? That's what I'm saying. Like, there has never been a time in the history of the Republican machine where the Republican Party hasn't been like, dude, Democrats want to kill your fucking children. They want to kill white people. They want to do white genocide. They're all pedophile vampires. Like, there's never been a time when they haven't said that, okay? It's just pure hypocrisy. And they're also little babies, so just enjoy it.
As the enemies of the people in all of this. The press went nuts. And I said he shouldn't have done that. But that was a talk about the press. That wasn't everybody who opposes my agenda deserves the back of the American hand. The president and all of this in the name of democracy. And
I love when Ben Shapiro's like, I didn't like what Trump had to say on January 6th, which was a literal fucking insurrection, a failed one, but still, okay. Backed and guided and motivated by Donald Trump. That wasn't a great moment for Trump. But also, you know what's bad? When Biden said that guy and those actions are an inherent threat to American democracy. That is unacceptable. That's real fascism. What the fuck, dude? What do you mean? I mean, I don't like the fucking guy. I think Biden is a feckless conservative Democrat who has been really, really awful, okay, historically speaking, his tenure in the Senate has been god awful to this fucking country. He is the architect of not only the crime control bill, which was devastating for so many marginalized communities, but he has had so many anti-drug, the war on drugs policies that he passed with actual literal white supremacists were horrifying. We are still reeling from the aftershock of said reactionary legislation. Okay? I hate him. But you're fucking ridiculous if you turn around and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe he said that the Republicans are bad. He is saying half of the country is so bad. This is so divisive. This is so divisive. Suck my cock. Okay? There's never been a moment where you haven't been divisive. Calling that out adequately is actually appropriate. Okay? It's the one time when he's actually being correct. And I think that Democrats, liberals in the media need to stop being fucking libtards, okay? Just stop. Stop. Stop being a fucking pathetic, sniveling coward. Just have some fucking backbone and decency. You cry about Trump being fascist for 4 fucking years, and then when Biden says, well, some of these MAGA Republicans are out of control, you don't even have the fucking decency to back that shit up, and you have to immediately hit the both sides are bad argument. Ben Shapiro should never have the right to get upset at someone for their inflammatory rhetoric. Okay? Biden hit them with a fucking 3 out of 10 when he said some of these MAGA Republicans are a threat to American democracy. No, motherfucker. The Republican Party is a terror cell, okay? Perhaps the most prolific terror cell. The Democrats are too. Don't get me wrong. They're just not as good as the Republicans are. Democrats are a terror to the rest of the fucking planet with American imperialism. Republicans are a threat to the rest of the planet with American imperialism, which is a bipartisan thing, but also to America as well. It's wild that we can't even, like, you can't even say that? Like, what the fuck do you mean? Don't get fucking cry bullied by these babies, dude. They don't give a shit. Stop. I just don't understand. Like, this is not a bad take. What Joe Biden did was not bad. Okay? Balls and strikes, baby. I call it out. Joe Biden, when his campaign goes out or when his administration goes out and says, hey, we actually got Mexico to pay for the wall. We're doing a $1.5 billion cash infusion from Mexico to build smart border, to build a smart border, okay? So we can like fucking use satellite imagery to immediately send in the Gestapo when they see like a fucking 75-year-old abuela crossing the fucking border, right? That shit sucks. That sucks. When you don't close the immigration detention centers, okay, but you call them overflow facilities, that fucking sucks. When you use Title 42 to stop people from asking, from seeking asylum, which is legally in their right to do, that shit sucks. And some of those policies have changed now, by the way. So, admittedly, Brandon, not so bad on that front. Not as bad. Okay? When Biden goes to Philadelphia and talks about how we must suck off every hero cop because crime is out of control, Jack. That shit sucks. Okay? But this is not one of those things that sucks. Openly saying that the Republican Party is out of control and constituting a legitimate threat to America is not the wrong thing to say. And if you want to be critical of Brandon in that situation, you should be critical of the reality that he didn't go far enough. He didn't. He should be going way harder on these motherfuckers.
Quality, it was insane. I want to begin with the image of the speech. This is going to be the takeaway image. Most people are not going to see the speech. Most people are not going to listen to the speech. There's going to be one takeaway image from the speech.
Unfollowed.
Presidential politics is all about image. It's all about imagistics. Whether you're talking about President Trump getting out of a helicopter and taking off his mask in the middle of COVID, or whether you're talking about Barack Obama standing on a giant stage flanked by the Greek Parthenon recreated in 2008. When you look at this image, the image that you're seeing right now of Joe Biden, this is the single.
It's aesthetics. You're crying about aesthetics. You're a lib. You're a lib. It's over. You're a lib. Everyone is a liberal. Everyone's a fucking liberal, dude. Look at that. Oh, look at the aesthetics of this. This is so damaging. This is so scary. It is a real picture. Yes. It is. And what's funnier about this is that, like, yeah, aesthetically speaking, it does look fucking wild. It looks like a fucking Red Alert cutscene, right? It looks like a Command and Conquer cutscene. And I made this joke immediately last night when I saw it. But who gives a shit? I don't give a fuck. It wasn't Trump's aesthetics that were offensive to me. It was his actions, okay? It was his policies. It's just so stupid. It's also red and blue, right? Isn't it? It doesn't matter. Because who the fuck cares? Who the fuck cares? Like, you love Trump's aesthetics. You compliment his pussy all the time. Yeah, I mean, I did. I did like Trump's pussy. I mean, he had a fat one. He had a dumper. Balls and strikes, folks. I call him out. I call him as I see him, okay? Trump was sassy. Trump was funny, okay? He was a little charismatic. He had like a lot of, he was like the perfect fail son. You know what I mean? Perfect, rotund, wet fail son with a fat dumper. And he was a media demon. He was a media obsessed narcissist. It was funny as fuck. He was constantly making, you know, great tweets. He was posting, well, hey, play Valorant. I just got off the phone with POTUS. Joe said to bring back Split and to remove Fracture right now. His words. I don't even know what this is. But, oh, Fracture, is that the one I hate? Anyway, fuck it. We're not doing Valorant stuff. Okay. Ah, yes. The 1,000-year-old president will make the South rise again, backed by Karl Marx and Mao and his army of libs law. Yeah. Oh, they're maps. Okay. Hyper focusing on the aesthetics of a particular thing and having no consideration whatsoever, okay, for the legitimate actions or even the words that he's using and what the message he's trying to deliver is lib shit, okay? If you're focusing on this kind of shit and you are hyperventilating over like, oh my God, it looks so scary, like, you're a bitch. You're a bitch. You're bitch made. You're bitch made.
Worst piece of presidential image making I have ever seen in my entire life. It is not close. This is an astonishingly bad image for the president of the United States, especially when he's declaring, I'm here in defense of democracy, and now I'm going to yell at you about how everyone who opposes me is an enemy of democracy. Let's count the ways in which this is a horrible piece of, I mean, first of all, let's compare it to some other images, just so you see how bad a piece of imagery this is. It's insane. Okay, how about General Lux from Star Trek, from Star Wars, The Force Awakens? It's the same image. We're talking about the blood red background. We're talking about the dark outfit, the blood red background, and the people in the background who are apparatchiks of the state. Okay, you are talking here about...
Dude, this is literally like the most soy, the most bug man you could be, by the way. There is no more soy a moment than doing this, okay? This is just like my movies. This is just like my favorite movies. Oh my God. What is this? Oh, we're talking divisive backgrounds. That's a great tweet from Nina Turner. Yeah. That's, you don't understand, Nina. That's heritage, not hate. That's heritage, not hate. I mean, this is hyperventilating soy shit. Like, this is bat chesting, okay? I cannot think of a more soy moment than hyperventilating over the RGB used behind Biden in an otherwise inoffensive speech. Everyone in American political media is an MCU-loving, Funko Pop collecting liberal at the end of the day. Okay? You are what you hate. You are. You can't stop yourself, dude. You just can't. You are the same soy, okay? You are the same like soy. Oh! Did I say then instead of than? Wait, I can't even edit my fucking tweets yet. Can I? Or I have to pay for it, right? Whatever, shut up. It doesn't matter. Soy! This is just like my movies. That's what he's doing. Straight fucking feelings over facts, guy. Straight up.
Man in the High Castle, when John Smith is first introduced in the Vauxhall in New York.
Oh my God.
I mean, like, it's this sort of imagery. The people who constructed this image, that was not Photoshop, that picture of Joe Biden.
Bro, you know what this is? You know what this is? This is literally the same as like liberals coming into my fucking stream and being like, did you see the rune shape? Did you see the rune shape that the CPAC convention hall had? That must be deliberate. I'm like, dude, do you fucking hear? Do you literally hear what they're saying? They're saying Nazi shit already. Okay? You don't need to like look at the fucking rune shape of the stage to be like, I wonder if these guys saying the 14 words are actually Nazis. I can't tell because there's a Nordic rune shape on the stage.
They not photoshopped him. I mean, Scar from Lion King. It's insane. What are they doing? What are they doing? The answer, by the way, that means V for Vendetta. It is all the dictators that you have ever seen in film or on screen, basically rolled into one and then wrapped into an image. What is his team doing? What is his team doing? Well, I think the answer is they're a very online team. The people who work for him, they spend all day on Twitter. And so over the past few weeks, there's been this idea that Dark Brandon is rising. Dark Brandon, of course, is that meme that originally started in China of Joe Biden.
In China. Yeah, doesn't that you're owned? You're saying that like literally the Chinese government is afraid of Brandon, that they're saying he's like vicious. Did you see Joe Biden walking off the podium? Stop sending me Star Wars shit, please.
Sitting on a throne made of guns with his lit up eyes, backlit by flames. You know, he's evil. I think that his team was like, you know what? That was such a cool image, man. It went viral online. Let's just recreate that in real life. And so you end up with this. You end up with the actual picture of Joe Biden. Let's go back to the original. You end up with the actual picture of Joe Biden in this picture. Now, let me describe for people who are just listening what is in this picture. Joe Biden is standing at the podium. This is an upshot. I believe this is from Getty Images. He is screaming at the top of his lungs. He's gripping his fists up in the air. Behind him is Independence Hall, the site of the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. Blood red. Blood red. And behind him are two American Marines who are in shadow, except for their white-gloved hands. And behind him, there's a pale light that looks like, because of the way this is lit, it looks like the throne room of the Emperor from Return of the Jedi. It's the worst piece of presidential image making ever. Truly ever. I mean, imagine the sort of thought that had to go into this. And they're sitting around a room, they're like, what can we do to make the president really look cool? Well, what if we take a historic American site, you know, the site that really is known for liberty and for democracy and legality, and what if we light it blood red, and we put the president in front of the blood red?
Oh my God, he's so fucking triggered, dude. Just call it out. Never address the aesthetics of the Brandon thing. Be like, it looks cool. Shut the fuck up. You're a dumb bitch. And call out how these guys are hyperventilating over this. Dude, he's like quaking in his fucking boots. What do you think he's going to do, man? He's 900 years old. What do you think he's going to do? He's going to kill you? Is that what you think? This 900-year-old guy is going to come after you, dude?
Site. So it'll be red and black, like the fascist color pattern. Let's do that. And then what if we...
Red and black. Dude, Okay, first of all, red and black, not the fascist color pattern. Red and black would be, you know, they're not. Why is he not doing the red is for communism shit? That would be way cooler if he did that, I think, because it is. Red is communism.
Actually front light him so he looks angry and demonic against that backdrop. And then what if we put a couple of Marines behind him to look like military force is what is backing him? This is a taxpayer-sponsored event, by the way. You paid for this. So Joe Biden gave a speech, and the speech was designed to attack all of his political opponents and treat them as enemies of the state. That's what this...
Bro, Trump literally campaigned as the president. Like, he did campaign stops regularly, okay? You cannot say this. That is crazy, okay? He set the stage. What the fuck are you talking about? That's insanity to me, okay? And to be honest, like, I think Biden is too big of a fucking pussy to do that anyway. Like, Biden is too big of a pussy to actually do, you know, good campaigning like Trump did for the Republican Party.
This speech was designed to do. I think in a very cynical way, because Joe Biden basically gave you two messages. One, everyone who opposes me is an enemy of the state. And two, violence is wrong. The basic idea here is to raise the temperature. I think this is more likely to result in acts of violence that Joe Biden is then going to use as a case to run in 2022 and 2024. I mean, this is extraordinarily dark stuff. Okay, we haven't even gotten to the content of the speech. Just the imagery alone is extraordinary. Really dark, really creepy, really fascistic. And man, did he, I mean, there's a reason that satanic, demonic, and pure evil were all trending on Twitter last night because,
oh my God,
man, oh man.
It was trending on Twitter. People were saying he's demonic. It was trending on Twitter. Soy!
Man, the imagery associated with this speech. And you know what? It fits well within the rhetoric of the speech too. Because what Joe Biden said last night is, as I say, the most dangerous thing I have seen an American president say about half the country ever.
That's the most dangerous thing he's ever heard an American president say, by the way. That. Is this what not having a legitimate argument looks like? Yes. This is exactly what not having a legitimate argument looks like. But also, he is now 6 minutes in, okay? We're beyond the halfway point in this video. Now he's finally going to fucking say something about the speech itself, right? About the components of the speech, except there's not really anything you can pick apart in that speech as well. So he's just going to say like, oh, it's so dangerous, the most divisive. Republicans have claimed that the Democrats have always been divisive for a very long time. Even under the Trump administration, they did that. It's just cry bullying, okay? That's it. It's just cry bullying. He's going to say Biden is divisive because he said that all Republicans are bad. Meanwhile, he didn't even say that. He just said that Trumpism is a dangerous form. We want a good Republican Party. We want a strong Republican Party. We want a fucking Republican Party that cares about America, but just has a difference in opinion, which is stupid because that Republican Party has never existed. Conservatives do not care about, good shit.
Ever in my life. And I'm sure there are times, maybe before that in American history.
We'll look at it in a second.
I was born in 1984, so I can only tell you what I have seen since 1984. The President of the United States going out there and saying that the half of the country that disagrees with, he has a 38% approval rating, half the country, more than half, that disagrees with him, that these are people who are associated with...
Bro, Trump had a fucking sub 30 when he literally gassed protesters to go hold up an upside down Bible outside of a fucking church. Like, what are you talking about? That was literally worse. Like, what the fuck do you mean? And also, Brandon is rising up. Let's be real. Brandon is rising up right now. Rise up, Brandon. He's hitting above 40 now. He's swinging, dude. Doing great.
Pure evil. He speaks about his fellow Americans the way that George W. Bush spoke about Al-Qaeda. So let's actually go through the speech now. We're going to go through it in real detail. I want him to speak in his own words. It's amazing. So this thing opens. Remember, it's a taxpayer-sponsored event, which means he's using all of the power of the office. This geriatric dotard. He's using all the power of the office, including taxpayer dollars, and all the imagery of traditional American republicanism, small r republicanism, in order to prop up a demagogic piece of fascistic speech-making. So here he was at the very beginning, and Jill is walking him out to the podium because he now needs to be walked from place to place as our president. And here's what it sounded and looked like.
Wait, why are they? I mean, this doesn't look that. He's just walking normal. What the fuck?
So there he is. I mean, he can barely walk. She's leading him out there.
Wait, what?
If this doesn't feel like the death of the republic to you, I don't know what would. He's in.
Wait, what? Bro, come on. What are you doing? Ben, what are you doing, bro? There's so much better shit. There's so much better shit to do. Bro, this dude is dying, okay? He is literally like a walking corpse. Why did you use the one time you found him actually walking normally, dude? What the fuck? Yo, it's harder to find Joe Biden walking in a fucking normal fashion. And for some reason, Ben figured out, Ben could find one time, the one fucking time, he's on camera walking weirdly all the time. This is the one instance where he's like walking normal and he's like, look at him, he's dying.
Doesn't feel like the death of the republic to you, I don't know what would. He's in front of Independence Hall. He can barely raise his hand to wave. Okay, and then she ushers him to the podium, and he moves her off, and then he begins.
I feel like the Daily Wire will be filing bankruptcy in the next half decade. Oh, fuck, that'd be so sick. Fuck yeah.
To speak. So he starts off.
Except this motherfucker's worth like $100 million or some shit, for the record. I mean, the Daily Wire is like caked up.
By welcoming his fellow Americans. And by his fellow Americans, he means everyone who agrees with him. This was a pure campaign speech, but it is laced through with the kind of seething hatred for his fellow Americans that I have not seen. Truly, it's despicable. Here's the President of the United States, Captain Unity over here.
My fellow Americans, I speak to you tonight from sacred ground in America, Independence Hall in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This is where America made its Declaration of Independence to the world more than 2 centuries ago, with an idea unique among nations, that in America, we're all created equal.
Okay, so first of all, you can hear that he's clearing his throat. He's not particularly healthy. But as you can see, this was angry Biden. There are 2 versions of Biden that are now present. There's really 3 versions of Biden that are present in American public life. There is doddering fool Biden, can't get a sentence out, can barely speak, is wobbling around. His aides are worried he's going to trip over a wire, falling off bikes, and all the rest. And that's one version of Biden. Then you have fake empathy Biden, where he goes into his low voice. He really cares. That's the stuff where in completely inappropriate context, he cites the tragic death of his son in order to try and garner empathy for himself while supposedly trying to sympathize with others, right? That's version number 2 of Biden. And then there's angry yelly Biden. What we got last night was angry yelly Biden. So he continues with what he says are the real message of America. What is the soul? He said he was going to speak about the soul of the nation in front of a blood red background in satanic lighting. Here he was talking about the soul of the nation. What is America really all about?
We the people, these 2 documents and the ideas they embody, equality and democracy, are the rock upon which this nation is built.
Okay, so the very basis of his speech, that equality and democracy are the key values of the United States. They are some of the key values of the United States, but he's actually using the wrong language. Because when he says equality, what he means is equity. Right? He has made this very, very clear throughout his presidency. Equity means equality of outcome. It does not mean that you have equal rights under the Constitution. That is not what he cares about. He cares about equality of outcome. And if you oppose that, you're against equality. And when he says democracy, as it turns out, he does not mean...
Dude, he's so triggered, dude. I don't know what else to say. I mean, this is like semantics. It's language policing. He's picking apart like some of the most innocuous, insignificant parts of this to be like, dude, it's so crazy. That's so crazy. He said equity. He said equity. He wants equality of outcome. This is communism. It's so... I don't know what to say about it other than like... I don't know what to say. I don't know why he's like losing his fucking shit over this. I mean, I guess he has to make content for this. Like, this is what he has to do. They were able to convince everyone that Donald Trump didn't mean what he said, so they're doing the same thing with Biden. You can't even do anything because Biden is so fucking boring. That's the problem. Like, Biden is not offering enough content to the Republicans to fucking lose their shit over. So they're losing their shit over some of the most like ridiculous, insignificant bullshit. Like, oh man, I can't believe he said equality. It's unacceptable. You know what? You know who else wanted equality? Communists. At the top of the hour, equally, communists want everyone to see the 6-second ad break. But of course, you can fight back against the top of the hour ad break.
I mean, the kind of republicanism, small r republicanism, that is discussed in the Constitution of the United States. The truth is, if you look at the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States, the key messages truly are liberty and republicanism, not equality.
Jaded Jago, thank you for the 5 get the subs. The 5G vaccine for QAnon teens. Thank you for the 5 get the subs. Wait, what the fuck is this?
The kind of republicanism, small r republicanism, that is democracy, as it turns out, he does not mean the kind of republicanism, small r republicanism, that is discussed in the Constitution of the United States. The truth is, if you look at the Declaration of Independence...
No, totally. That's a fun little substitution. Okay, that's like small d democratism, like the Democratic Party. I love that. Thank you, Ben. He's saying like the true nature of American democracy is not democracy, like the small d democracy is in the name, but republicanism. You know, like the one that the Republican Party upholds, which is also in the name. Yeah, no, actually.
The Constitution of the United States, the key messages truly are liberty and republicanism, not equality and democracy.
Yeah, no, not equality. America's never been about equality or democracy, actually. It's bullshit. Why would you say America's about democracy and equality? Do you think someone cares about this? Are you out of your fucking mind? No, dude, come on. This is just team sports. The only people that will look at this fucking nerd, like slobbering all over this shit, losing his fucking mind, are going to be actual annoying weirdos, just as annoying as Ben. This has real young Republican debate club energy, okay? Yeah, technically, America is not a democracy. Its values have never been about equality and democracy. It's like, bro, those are positive values regardless of how you try to say America is not about that, okay? Like, good luck cutting an argument saying that America is about, like, upholding Republican values of the Republic and not about fucking democracy and equality. What are you saying right now? Those are positive things, okay? We are taught from a very, very early age that, you know, democracy is a good thing and all the other methods of control are bad. All the other methods of governance are bad. It's also a good thing to have equality, okay? So what the fuck are you trying to do here? What are you trying to say here? Like it's actually unconstitutional. Null Void Face, thank you for the 5 get the subs. Family Jules 11, thank you for the 5 get the subs.
Equality and democracy are hallmarks of the French Revolution. Because in the French Revolution, the whole idea was that it was egalite, liberté, fraternité. It was pure democracy.
Damn, you're saying Biden's gay and French. Okay, that's unacceptable. Okay, he brought it back.
Democracy was mob rule. The founders very much feared the idea of mob rule.
Mob rule. Democracy is mob rule.
Culminating in a powerful centralized figure who was able to do whatever he wanted without any of the checks and boundaries of the Constitution of the United States. That's what they feared. And that's what Joe Biden represents. So understand, when he says equality and democracy, you're hearing equality of rights and democratic Republican rule under the checks and balances of the Constitution. That's not what he means. What he means by equality and democracy is something very different. He means equity and mob rule. Those are the things that he's actually standing for. But again, what he's doing is he's hijacking. This whole speech was about hijacking traditional American images and turning them on their head, right? Independence Hall is now blood red. Equality and democracy, if you are in favor of a limited government and equality of right.
I mean, this is just, he's just saying democracy is not good. Like, he openly said it. I don't need to, like, address it. I don't need to tell you that that is a psychotic thing to say. Ben is doing it for me. So I don't even feel the need to address this at this point, right? Like, we all get what he's saying. He's saying democracy is not good. Democracy is mob rule. Okay, well, if you are considering majoritarian rule, the democratic rule, to be mob rule, then you're advocating for what? The tyranny of minority? A minoritarian government? Which, of course, yes, that is what Ben is advocating for. That is also low-key, you know, what the Founding Fathers did want. They wanted only 35, or not 35, sorry, only white men who own land to be able to fucking vote. That's part of the reason why they made the Senate the way it is, right? That's why they had the Electoral College. That was straight up true. That is what they wanted. But theoretically speaking, the way that we promote American democracy is not by pointing out those things. As a matter of fact, when I point out those things, Ben will turn around and say, that's bad. You're doing CRT. You're doing critical race theory. Okay? So, you know, I don't know what else to say about this. Like, yeah, Ben and I are in agreement that the Founding Fathers were kind of dog shit. I mean, well, he doesn't think that. He thinks that they were good for wanting to undermine democratic rule. But, you know, he thinks it's good.
And you're interested in a checks and balances system that hems in the power of a centralized bureaucratic state. This means, according to Joe Biden, you are against the founding ideals of the country. The battle.
Damn, that's so terrifying. Oh, shit. Wait, I closed the fucking Themasius playlist. That's terrifying, folks. That's terrifying. Tucker Carlson also did 21 minutes on this. I mean, I want to see more of
Joe
it.
Biden, when he says that his political opponents are the font head of all evil in the universe, when he says that, you have to understand he really likes dissent. He likes having these big, complicated conversations. He likes the give and take of American politics, you traitorous bastards, you.
I believe in the give and take of politics, in disagreement and debate and dissent. We're a big, complicated country. But democracy endures only if we, the people, respect the guardrails of the republic. Only if we, the people, accept the results of free and fair elections. Only if we, the people, see politics not as total war, but mediation of our differences. Democracy cannot survive when one side believes there are only two outcomes to an election. Either they win or they were cheated. And that's where the MAGA Republicans are today.
You spent
Bro, you can't even fucking say that Republicans are like shitty losers that fucking cry foul and cry to the refs when they lose the game without every Republican who is literally doing that turning around and being like, that's fascism. I can't believe you said that. I can't believe you called it out as it is. That's literally fascism. Like, dude, then don't be a fucking bitch. Don't be a fucking bitch. Don't be so bitch made and fucking cry about the elections being stolen nonstop. Tom Cotton literally said ranked choice voting is fucking a theft because because there were two Republican candidates and they split the fucking vote and a Democrat won in Alaska. So now they're saying ranked choice voting is bad. It blows my fucking mind. I mean, they're pretty obviously and very openly stating that, like, anytime a Democrat wins, this election is going to be stolen. Okay? They're going to say that over and over again. I mean, they're saying it. They will continue saying it. It doesn't even matter. And it's not new. Donald Trump didn't actually invent this method, okay? This has been a foundational plank of Republican messaging strategy for a very long time. It's not new, right? People think it's new. People claim it's new. It's not. They've been undermining the integrity of American elections, claiming that the American elections are always stolen by undocumented immigrants in an effort to justify more voter suppression methods for a very long time. This is what the Republicans have been doing. It's the best way to create a problem where no such problem exists, specifically so you can turn around and say we need to take action against this problem that doesn't exist, by the way, that there is no empirical evidence for whatsoever. As a matter of fact, the only empirical evidence that exists basically completely diminishes that idea that like American elections are unsafe or unsecure, completely made up. So it's not new. There's plenty of historical precedent for this. And calling that out and calling that out as a bad thing and calling that out as like legitimately a threat to whatever the American democracy is supposed to be is not divisive. It's just the truth. You can't say the truth is divisive. Okay, because it hurts your fucking feelings. That's ridiculous.
For years and tens of millions of dollars on the theory that either Hillary Clinton won or you were cheated. I'm sorry, Democrats have not accepted the results of a presidential election.
That's not true. That's bullshit. That's fucking bullshit. That is complete bullshit. As much as I hate the fucking blue anon, like, oh, Russiagate psychopathic nonsense, they still fucking took the L. Hillary called and conceded the night of. What the fuck are you talking about? Donald Trump, the things that Donald Trump did are incomprehensible in comparison to what Hillary Clinton did. She's a fucking loser. She sucks. Okay? But if you use the poll that you're going to show right now, I'm going to lose my fucking mind. He's going to say like, oh, if you ask the Democrats, like, was Hillary cheated? Yes, an overwhelming majority of Democrats said that. Okay? The idea that the Democratic Party across the board did not immediately concede and follow along with the regular procedure of the elections is so ridiculous, though.
It went the other way for them since about 1988. They thought the 2000 election was stolen. They did not accept.
It was legitimately, that was legit. That was stolen. A riot happened. It's called the Brooks Brothers riot. Jeb Bush, the brother of the person who was running for fucking president, George W. Bush, literally held up the process. They were fucked up ballots. And Republicans, some of who are literally on the Supreme Court now, went in physically and body blocked the fucking voters, the people at the polling station from counting the ballots. That is insanity. That is a real thing that happened. Why are we acting like that's not a real thing that happened? What the fuck? Unless you think that literally a old Jewish community straight up voted by insane margins for a white supremacist, which is the outcome, which was one of the main reasons why people were like, wait a minute, this makes no sense. And even if that's the case, even if they did do that, why couldn't they do a re-election? Why did the Supreme Court actually allow the recount not to happen? You're not allowed to say that, lol? Wait, what do you mean I'm not allowed to say that?
Accept that George W. Bush was a legitimate president. 2004 was supposedly an outgrowth of 2000 and also Diebold voting machines. In 2016, Donald Trump was a tool of the Russians, and it was Facebook memes that got him elected.
Yeah, that shit was dumb. The idea that like Facebook memes can move the needle, that shit is dumb as fuck, okay? That was dumb. I agree. But there is a fundamental difference between Democrats being like, the outside electoral interference played a role in like propaganda, played a role in like changing the fucking outcomes of the American election, is insanely different than being like, no, there were fake voters and every fucking polling station had Democratic Party operatives that basically counted to like give fake votes to the Democratic Party out of nowhere. Like you're insane. Like these are different layers of conspiracy. Blue Anon is weird. Okay, there is a very real, very robust Blue Anon movement. People's brains have been broken by MSNBC. A lot of your parents who are liberals straight up think that like Russia did do this like major conspiracy and change the outcome of the election, and Donald Trump is Putler's bitch or whatever the fuck, right? That's dumb as fuck for sure. But if you ask those people, was Donald Trump the president? They're gonna say yes. The same concept does not exist in the Republican Party for the first fucking year of Biden's presidency.
Don't lecture us about accepting elections when you still say that Stacey Abrams is the rightful governor of Georgia after she lost by 50,000 votes in her last gubernatorial race. Yes, it's really bad when you have both sides rejecting the results of elections. But let's stop pretending that this is a one-sided issue. It is not. It is bad when both sides do it. Democrats seem to have a rule. It's that it's really bad when you do it. It's great when we do. So he continues along these lines. Right? You can't love democracy only when you win. This line is so astonishing coming from this leader of this party. Here we go.
You can't love your country only when you win. It's fundamental. American democracy only works only if we choose to respect the rule of law and the institutions that were set up in this chamber behind me.
Wow. Terrifying. Terrifying. Unacceptable. Can you imagine? Can you imagine a president saying this? Unacceptable. I hate this.
Only if we respect our legitimate political differences. I will not stand by and watch.
Bro, he's literally saying you got to respect our legitimate political differences, which, by the way, also implies like the same for the Democratic Party too. Like he's saying we got to respect the Republican Party's legitimate political differences. Like it's so stupid. First of all, their differences are not even legitimate, okay? Like even in the fucking argument that Ben is trying to cut, saying like this is so divisive, Brandon is literally still being like, yo, we got some differences in opinion, Jack.
Will not the will of the American people be overturned by wild conspiracy theories. I will not stand by and watch elections in this country stolen by people who simply refuse to accept that they lost. I will not stand by and watch the most fundamental freedom in this country, the freedom to vote, and have your vote counted and be taken from you and the American people.
There are people, did you know, who are actively attempting to prevent you from voting. Now, one of the things that's amazing here is that there has been a bipartisan possibility of a bill that's been brought up by Mitch McConnell in the Senate, and that is change the Electoral Count Act so that there is no possibility of rejecting certified votes from the states. The Democrats won't pass it because they want to run on these issues. They want to pretend that their opponents hate democracy and then run on that.
What? What?
Change the electoral of a bill. Now, one of the things that's amazing here is that there has been a bipartisan possibility of a bill that's been brought up by Mitch McConnell in the Senate, and that is change the Electoral Count Act so that there is no possibility of rejecting certified votes from the states. The Democrats won't pass it because they want to run on these issues. They want to pretend that their opponents hate democracy.
That's insane. First of all, one, he said that he hates democracy like over and over again. And two, the idea that Democrats have not tried to pass actively numerous fucking Voting Rights Act restorations, for example, that Republicans have body blocked in perpetuity is so fucking stupid. Here, let's take a look at the Electoral Count Act reform, by the way. It obviously has some flaws, and it is worth, I think, discussing. The Senate Minority Leader said Wednesday, this is new. Okay, this is was it Susan Collins? This was like Susan Collins' shtick, right? Democrats are pursuing more sweeping election reforms and federalization of elections, but some lawmakers in both parties are also suggesting there may be more modest reforms that can pass on a bipartisan basis. Centrist Democratic Senators Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema both endorsed pursuing the work on Electoral Count Act on Wednesday, as did a number of Republican senators. It obviously has some flaws. Senate Democrats plan to hold votes on a broader election reforms by Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is threatening to change the Senate rules if McConnell leads another GOP filibuster. This is from January, January 5th. This is not new. Sorry. This was from a time when the Democrats were trying to do, what was it, HR 2? Like when they were pushing for, when the Democrats were pushing for their own voting rights restoration bill. The Electoral Count Act says you can rig the elections any way you want and then we'll count it accurately. Schumer said in an interview, he said he has very little hope for a bipartisan deal that includes the more comprehensive reforms his party is seeking to campaign finance and voter access. We've tried for 4 months and got no support. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Republicans will routinely put a watered down or downright awful bill. Okay? Republicans will often turn around and use an outright awful bill, right? To say, hey, we actually want voter reform too. We want electoral reform as well, just like you do, at a time when the Democrats are literally putting forward comprehensive reform for elections. And it's a tactic so that Ben Shapiro and the likes could turn around and fucking cry foul and say, look, you guys don't want it. You guys don't want it. We put forward a bill. It's like, why would they do that?
Democracy.
And not only that, but let me tell you, you know what the real bipartisan bill is? Any bill that the Democrats put forward. Because I remember when Democrats were pushing for election reforms, they literally conceded to voter ID. Okay? They straight up conceded to fucking voter ID and like other Republican demands before Republicans even got to the table. And Republicans were never going to get to the table to begin with. McCarthy's open to the Electoral Count Act reform. This is 120. What do you mean? This is from 120. This is still old. This is old shit. Democrats will be like, we need to help the Poor Act. We're going to do an act that like gives $10 to every poor person. Republicans will turn around and be like, no, we're going to do the same thing. We're actually putting forward a Republican legislation called We Need to Help the Poor Act Better. Okay? And then they'll turn around and the act itself is like actually, sending poor people to the fucking, to the biofuel melting station. But they're like, but it's in the name. What do you mean? It's in the name. We're just going to tax them and then kill them. What do you, but like, you don't want it. You don't want it to happen. That's so weird. Anyway, let's continue.
And then run on that. When he says, this line is so amazing coming from the Democrats. You can't love democracy only when you win. You know what the polls show? The polls show over and over and over again that Republicans remain patriotic. They say they love the country, even when Democrats win.
I'm sorry. You are such a lame ass dude. Polls show that 9 out of 10 Republicans love the country, even when Democrats win. Like, what the fuck are you saying, dude? What poll, what legitimate poll is looking at this? What is patriotism? Like, what does a Republican think is a patriotic value versus what does anyone else think is a patriotic value? Half the Republican Party's assessment of what patriotism is probably might not even align with yours, you dumb bitch. Shut the fuck up. That's such a dumb poll. God, this is so bad. This is like the worst kind of argument you could ever fucking conduct. This has nothing to do with like Brandon and his speech anyway.
Democrats change their opinions on how much they love the country based almost solely on when they are winning and losing. This has been a long-time feature of American politics. This is true under...
Bro, Republicans literally, under a Democratic presidency, Republicans tried to do an insurrection, man. What the fuck are you saying? They literally lost and then turned around and stormed Congress, bro. What the fuck? Who gives a shit if they're like, yeah, I'm patriotic, brother? They also say heritage, not hate when it comes to the fucking Confederate flag. Who gives a shit? It's actually a patriotic insurrection, hypothetically. Also, the president was Republican at the time when they did the insurrection. So maybe they don't love their country that much.
Every Pew, Gallup, and every other poll that's ever been taken, when it comes to feelings of patriotism, Republicans are very consistent. that they love the country. Democrats only love the country when Barack Obama is president. And then when Donald Trump wins, boom, the patriotism just drops off the table. When he says that we have to work to respect the rule of law.
Who cares? What? 9 out of 10 Republicans say they love vanilla ice cream. Okay. Cool. What does, like, the Republican fifis of patriotism have anything to do with, like, Brandon's fucking take? Bro, you can't simultaneously show Gallup data on how patriotic Republicans' feelings are towards America without a well-established understanding, a universal value of patriotism that we agree on, which we don't. Because you can look at certain things that the Republican Party considers patriotic, like the fucking Confederate flag, which is a separatist, white supremacist, loser flag that they fucking uphold in the South. Like, they literally say they're patriotic while fucking repping the stars and bars, brother. How is that patriotic? You fucking took an L and you still want to secede. You still want to separate. That's not patriotic.
And the institutions that were set up in the chamber, he despises those institutions. He has called for the end of the filibuster, for example. He is somebody who says that the Supreme Court of the United States is not doing its job unless it just greenlights what he is doing. He has done stuff he himself has declared illegal. But he's an institutionalist, don't you know? I mean, this is gaslighting at the very, very highest level. And again, when he says that there are people in this country who are attempting to suppress the right to vote, that is such a lie. What exactly is the evidence that he has that millions of votes are being not counted and thrown out? It was Republican officials in Georgia who certified the election. It was Republican officials in Arizona who certified the election. It was Republican officials in Wisconsin and in Pennsylvania who certified the election. It was Vice President Mike Pence who certified the election.
Wait, yeah, exactly. Wait, so he agrees with... Oh, God, he's such a fucking lib, dude. He's hopped up on liberalism. I mean, he's right. That's what Biden says, too. That's actually... Wait, Ben is upset at Biden while simultaneously agreeing with the underlying message from the Brandon camp. Which is exactly what he said. There are good Republicans out there, but the MAGA Republicans, the Trump Republicans are fucking crazy. They're undermining the election. They're undermining the results of the election. They're undermining democracy, whatever. That's exactly what Brandon said.
The election. The vice president to Donald Trump. It was Mitch McConnell who certified the election. But he labels all those people MAGA Republicans.
That's not true. No, he doesn't. He should, but he doesn't. Because he's a pussy. He should do that, but he doesn't. Why are you... What?
Every single one of those people. Because again, it's not about the thing he says it's about. It's about the people who oppose him are the enemy of the country. Okay, and you can tell this because then he links it to his current political program. Because then about 3/4 of the way through the speech, it just turns into him listing off all of the amazing things that he has done. Because if you oppose those amazing things that he has done, this means you're an enemy of the Republic. So he talks about how he is the light that has emerged from the darkness. He, in his grim, elderly visage, barely able to speak without either being jacked up to heights of adrenaline that make him nearly incomprehensible, or he falls asleep, like he's suffering from narcolepsy. He is saying that he is the light that has emerged from, he is the messianic figure that has emerged from the darkness. He said, flanked, I can't get over this, flanked by a blood-red Independence Hall.
Throughout our history, America's often made the greatest progress.
I love this.
Coming out of some of our darkest moments, like you're hearing that bullhorn.
Okay, so here I think we should point out that about 2/3 of the way through the speech, there was a guy in a bullhorn who was audible on the audio, and what he was screaming was F Joe Biden. And that's what he was screaming. And Joe Biden says that the darkest moments of our history are the things coming out of that bullhorn. People saying they don't like him. That's the darkest moments of our...
He just tried to freestyle, brother. It's not the worst thing. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure the underlying fear of institutionalists, which I am not one, fuck the institutions, is The underlying fear in that entire speech is not that like some guy in a bullhorn is saying fuck Joe Biden, you fucking idiot. It's that you know, they just refuse to play ball. Okay, you can't play a game if the other side is refusing to go by the rules. If they're regularly changing the rules, and even then if they lose, they're like, no, actually I declare this game null and void. How are you going to fucking do that? You can't do the thing that you're supposed to do.
Our history. And you know what the progress...
Wait, did Biden actually say... Wait, hold on. Does anyone have the full speech? Ben is clip chimping. Biden literally said he has the right to do that with the bullhorn.
The pursuit of justice, to the rule of law, to the very soul of this country. They look at the mob that stormed the United States Capitol on January 6th, brutally attacking law enforcement, not as extreme Republicans, but there's no...
Here, by the way, I just want to make sure.
Majority of Republicans are MAGA.
I just want to make sure that you guys understand, like, Biden, here's how fucking tepid the speech was.
MAGA Republicans. Not every Republican embraces their extreme... Up front. Not every Republican, not even the majority of Republicans are MAGA Republicans. Not every Republican embraces their extreme ideology. I know, because I've been able to work with these
so incredibly divisive, dude.
Mainstream Republicans. But there's no question that the Republican Party today is dominated, driven, and intimidated by Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans. And that is a threat to this country.
By the way, Donald Trump has 90% approval in the Republican Party, like throughout his entire presidency. So just like remember that Donald Trump has always had and has maintained a 90% plus approval in the Republican Party throughout his entire presidency, significantly higher than the Democratic Party's approval of Joe Biden. So just understand that. Just remember that. It is fucking ridiculous saying that like, oh, it's different. This is different. This is different. It's not fucking different. I'm just letting you know. The clip with the bullhorn.
Asking every American to join me. Throughout our history, America's often made the greatest progress coming out of some of our darkest moments, like you're hearing in that bullhorn. I believe we can and must do that again, and we are. But as fellow Americans, look, our democracy isn't perfect. It always has been. Notwithstanding those folks you hear on the other side there, they're entitled to be outrageous. This is a democracy. But history...
He's literally saying, dude, he's so fucking lame, dude. Like, he's literally saying they're entitled to do that.
In common sense. Good manners is nothing they've...
Oh, by the way, that was the other big clip chimp. It's like red, white, and blue for the record. Like the door is white, it's red on the sides, and then blue for America. But they only saw the red, so everyone was like freaking out over it. It's like, what's that thing? Like there are so many examples of this in like old school comics even, where it'll be like a guy that's like, it looks like the shadow is stabbing someone, but actually when you fucking, and that's what the media looks at. But then if you pull back a little bit, you realize that you're talking about the RT, Al Jazeera, CNN meme, which is the same picture. You mean this? I mean, no, that's just like, that's just how Republicans operate. This is a, but it's kind of like that. Oh yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Yeah, look, this. This is what I was talking about. It's such a fucking stupid meme, but I love it. It's wild that one mediocre billionaire managed to fuck up a centuries-old political party. Like, just that mind-boggling. No, dude, he didn't. It's not one billionaire that fucked it up. No, he just kicked it into high gear. This is what you guys don't understand. Trump is not the reason, man. Democracy is mob rule that endangers individual rights. I love that. I love when the Libertarian Party does that, by the way. When they just like come out and are openly like, hey, you know, as libertarians, we just hate democracy. All Republicans want to do is whine about wokeness. Libertarians have solutions. Repeal the Civil Rights Act. God, there's such a fucking funny meme overall. I love that. Oh yeah, monarchist libertarians, that's a real thing. Like Boo Boo Bennett, she's in favor of monarchy.
Progress that came out of the darkest moments of our history. That progress was him. He is the progress. He is the man on the donkey riding into Judea. He is. You thought he was just a venal, corrupt old politician who's lusted after power his entire life, and now that he's gained it, is gripping it with the fiery force of 1,000 suns. You thought that's who he was. But no, actually, he is a light bringer. Like his predecessor, he's a light bringer. So he compares himself to, once again, the MAGA Republicans. And amazing stuff here.
MAGA Republicans look at America and see carnage and darkness and despair. They spread fear and lies. Lies told for profit and power. But I see a different America. An America with an unlimited future. An America that's about to take off.
I mean, that's an amazing statement. So his opponents see carnage, darkness, and despair. This entire speech has been about how half the American population wishes to destroy the democracy in which we live. But don't worry. It's his opponents who see carnage and darkness and despair. He's hopeful, you see. He's an optimist. What makes him optimistic? Well, what makes him optimistic is that he has spent more money than any president in the history of the world. What makes him optimistic is that he has rammed through useless package after useless package, bringing us to 40-year highs in inflation and the brink of a very serious recession in the United States. What makes him optimistic is things like pulling out of Afghanistan and subjecting 38 million people to the predations of the Taliban. I mean, all these things make him optimistic. It turns out that optimism is wrapped up. If you're optimistic about the country, it's because you love Joe Biden. It's just that simple. Here we go.
Just look around. I believe we could lift America from the depths of COVID, so we passed the largest economic recovery package since Franklin Delano Roosevelt. I believe we could build a better America, so we passed the biggest infrastructure investment since President Dwight D. Eisenhower. And I believe we could create a clean energy future and save the planet. So we passed the most important climate initiative ever.
I love that he he clipped out the claps too.
Right? So the light is his policy. It turns out the cure is not saying that people win elections. That's not the cure. The cure is not even rejecting Donald Trump. The cure, according to Joe Biden, is embrace all of the things I want. And if you don't embrace all of the things that I want, this means you are standing with the white supremacists and the extremists. He makes this absolutely explicit in the next minute of the speech.
No matter what the white supremacists and the extremists say, I made a bet on you, the American people, and that bet is paying off, proving that from darkness, the darkness of Charlottesville, of COVID, of gun violence, of insurrection, we can see the light. Light is now visible.
Dude, it's funny that like Democrats are doing Biden is doing like 1/5 of what Trump did throughout the 4 fucking years, and significantly worse shit on top of that. But like just speech pattern wise, right? Like Democrats are doing 1/5 of it, and the Republicans are literally like MSNBC. They're worse than MSNBC. They're losing their fucking minds, dude. They're like, I can't believe he said it. Like he said that we can actually make America better. What does that mean? That must mean that he doesn't think America is good right now. I can't believe he said we should make America great again. That's completely unacceptable.
Accepted the results of a presidential election.
That's not true. That's bullshit.
It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not.
Okay, dude. Fucking Austin Ox. How dare you, dude? How fucking dare you?